muted my microphone, that's why. Okay. Can you hear me? I see that you're muted. Could you just unmute yourself? Didier. Can see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you. There must be a control that you have at your end to mute and unmute, hopefully. No? No. Oh dear. Okay. It's going to come back in, hopefully. You're sort of like greyed out, which is strange. Guest is in green room. Yeah, and I'm in the green room. So why can't I hear you? It's me. Right. Can you hear me? Can you nod if you can hear me? You can hear me. Okay, that's something. But I can't hear you because you seem to be muted. Guest is in green room. Yeah. Assign, what does that mean? Oh, assign to placeholder. Oh, that's strange. Okay, well, let's see what happens if I do that. Nothing. Okay. Unassign. Right. I feel like you must have a control at your end or a drop down, something like that. What just happens if I press this? Oh shit, got rid of you. Didn't mean to do that. Show current application. Oh, why? What's the levels? These are people. No, that's crowdcast, so that can go away. Comments and reactions. Live program. That can go away. Now. Oh shit. Now I can't see you at all. Where have you gone? Oh Jesus. Lord. Okay. Oh gosh. Oh Jesus. I don't know why I can't hear you. It just says, okay. You're muted. Oh my god. Leanne, I don't know why, but I can't hear you or Didier, which is not ideal. Let me just, okay, outputs, audio monitor, display port, Zoom audio device, virtual cam, sharing window. What does that mean? Don't know what that means. Oh, fuck. Camera. What's that? I don't know why this isn't working. I kind of got to start the event as well. It might be okay once I bring you up, but I have no way of knowing. Unless, shall we just see what happens? Just, yeah, see what happens. Okay, press on. I think that's what you're saying. Just go, yeah? Go live. Okay. All right. Here we go then. Are you actually meant to be coming on? Oh no, that's fine. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. You just stay there. That's fine. Okay. Hello everybody. Hopefully you can all see and hear me. Welcome to our big sing. So I'm Anil Sebastian, and this big sing is called Reclaim, and it's all about our connection with nature, something that came up a lot in our work over the pandemic when we were talking to each other, and it's to do with reclaiming our relationship with nature and our environment. So in the first half, we're going to be looking at some pieces of music that members of our community have created at home. In the second half, we're going to be sharing some works made in collaboration with the Fifth Continent Landscape Partnership Scheme based on Romney Marsh in Kent, led by Kent Wildlife Trust. So first up, here are the at-home pieces. The first is by Essie West, and the second is by Heron Wolf. Enjoy.
I just keep on running on. You just keep on giving. I just keep on running on. All alone. Gentle underfoot after the rain, propelling along. Sunset settle down through a feather glow. Chasing my time, a flash of blue, the gray
forced my back to barren ground. All of the walls you fought on it, my heart without sound. You watched me drown. Now my legs are scratched in the depths of a precipice. Can my hands withstand your violence? Too late for an armistice. Too late for an armistice. I could have said, but you ripped the skin from my chest. How was I supposed to breathe when my heart lies at your feet? You're still not taller than me. You're still no stronger than me. When my heart lies at your feet, you're still not taller than me. You're still no stronger than me.
Two absolutely beautiful pieces there. The first by Essie West, and the second one by Heron Wolf. So moving, especially in the light of the news today, which says that basically there's a UN forecast that shows that several Kent communities will be cut off within 20 years, and Romney Marsh is one of them. So with that in mind, I'm going to invite up Didier Rochard. Didier, hello.
Hello. Hi. You can all hear me?
So this UN study seems to have profound implications for the landscape in Kent. And which is amazing timing, really, thinking about the project we've been doing on Romney Marsh. Can you tell us a bit about the project and your role?
Sure. So my name's Didier Rochard, and I'm the Cultural Heritage Officer on a scheme called the Fifth Continent Landscape Partnership Scheme. And this is a very large landscape scale project on Romney Marsh in Kent, involving over 20 local partners and led by Kent Wildlife Trust. And we are really doing a series of large projects to restore, rediscover and reclaim the Romney Marsh. The idea being that this is one of the UK's most special and most protected, most important landscapes, and we want to protect it. We want people to understand it and appreciate what's there, and ensure it's there for generations to come. As you point out, with climate change, with rising sea levels, low-lying landscapes such as this are under threat. It's very concerning, and we really want to raise awareness about what a special place Romney Marsh is. For those that don't know, Romney Marsh straddles both Kent and Sussex. It's that bit of land at the bottom of the map that juts out into the sea. It's a kind of triangular shaped piece of land, and the reason it looks so odd on the maps is that that land was reclaimed from the sea over hundreds of years by early settlers there, and it is a very low-lying landscape. The vast majority of it is now below sea level, protected by huge seawalls and shingle banks. And it has to, the sea defences have to be constantly managed to stop that landscape from flooding. And at first it seems like quite a flat and featureless landscape, punctuated by a number of medieval churches. There's 14 medieval churches in the landscape, which really stand out. They can be seen from miles around. And really, these projects that we're doing are designed to show people what else is there, what's there on their doorstep, what is the hidden heritage of that landscape, because it really is a fascinating area. So these projects were designed to kind of tap into that and explore that in new ways.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, and they certainly do that. They really are quite stunning. So the first of the pieces is actually led by Leanne Sedin, who I'm going to invite up now. Thank you very much, Didier, and we'll hear from you shortly when we get to Jack's piece.
Thanks.
Okay. So I'm going to welcome up Leanne. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Looking very leafy behind you there. Looks really nice.
Oh yes, thank you.
Got a bit of nature on the go. So Leanne, what's been your role in the project?
So I was invited by the Kent Wildlife Trust and this project that Didier's just been speaking about to come and run a workshop with some local people in New Romney to explore the kind of natural landscape and the sort of history of the area through singing, and specifically to explore that through improvised music and using a technique that I learned in my studies called vocal painting, which was an exciting thing to do post-pandemic when no one's been singing.
Wow. So what is vocal painting then? What's the process?
Yeah, so it's a set of sign language for creating and shaping music in the moment, vocal music. So it was created by a Danish guy called Jim Daustien, who teaches at the Royal Academy of Music in Aalborg and Aarhus in Denmark. And yeah, it's just this great language for kind of drawing out ideas, creating music. So it was a fairly tall order to do this in a couple of workshops. But basically what I did was spent some time teaching this language, just some of the signs to these people that came to the workshop. And then also we used it to explore some of the sounds of the area. So should I tell you a bit about the workshop?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it was great. We had some brilliant people turn up, never done anything like this before in their lives, like all kind of mostly members of local choir down there, and which sounded brilliant, but hadn't really ever done any improvisation before. And so we kind of brainstormed together a bit about what some of the sounds associated with the area. So the wind came up a lot, and we talked about historically there was a huge storm that completely changed the landscape of Romney Marsh. So we talked about the sounds associated with the storm. Loads of stuff came up about birds, and so through that we kind of used these vocal painting signs to kind of come up with maybe some kind of melodic interpretations of what those things might sound like. So that was our workshop.
Amazing.
And then we came and had another workshop. Yeah.
And so some of those pieces, some of the melodic fragments from the pieces, and also a pre-existing melody from another composer, kind of wove into the workshops, and you kind of use improvisation and hand signals to trigger those and then bring in new things in the moment.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I came back for another day, and we had another bit of time to work, and then also to bring London Contemporary Voices in.
Yeah.
And they very bravely just jumped right in and got involved. But yeah, fragments from the workshop, and then also taking a song called Sing to the Land by a choir leader and writer called Nikomo. Beautiful piece of music that really we use as a jumping off point. And it kind of sandwiches the piece. And yeah, in between we then have this kind of structure. All we really had was a sort of sense of a structure that would kind of go from wind through a storm, through bird song, and then end with a piece again. And there's just one little bit I want to mention just to hear. So in our workshop, we had this sort of wanting to talk about birds. And, you know, there's a really famous RSPB place in Romney Marsh. And I was kind of thinking, oh, we'd think about all these birds. But actually what the workshop participants came up with again and again was this idea of seagulls just being the kind of prominent bird sound that you hear. And rather than lots of people kind of referred to it with a sort of bloody seagulls, all you can hear is the seagulls. But there was this one couple that came to the workshop who just had this real sense of joy and care for seagulls. And she, one of the ideas from the piece, which you'll hear about, is one of the participants had this idea for a seagull sound, almost asking for like where its mother is, saying like, where are you, like calling out. And so that became a really strong theme for the piece of music. So so the vocal painting signs, I'm using just a few of them. There's a whole range of them, and I probably use maybe 3 or 4 in the piece, but just to trigger the various melodies and to shape it. So this piece of music that you'll hear was not written at all before we started, apart from Sing to the Land by Nicole. So yeah, very brave workshop participants who were really just for jumping in.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. And it's always amazing to work with you, and I can't wait to do more. So here's hoping for our next project as well. Okay. Thanks very much, Leanne. And here it is.
Thanks, Annie.
All right.
Sing to
Hello. Sorry, we may have lost contact there briefly. I'm very sorry. Complete goosebumps. Just amazing, especially to hear the 12 ensemble. I'm very excited to introduce our next composer, Freya. Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm very good. I'm very
Can you
good.
hear me?
Yes, I can. There's a bit of a delay between us, but such is the way of the internet. Freya, tell me about your piece and the process.
So my piece, everyone, I am called Freya Ward-Smith. I go by the artist names of Freya Lily and Freya Ward. My piece is called Nature Energy, and it was when I went to go and visit Romney Marshes and kind of get a feel for the place before I started working on my composition. I was just struck by how vast and how beautiful and how many contrasts are in this landscape. The kind of theme of my piece is all about this constant shifting momentum, and it's really clear when you learn about the history of Romney Marsh and the history of all the people that live there. There's this kind of constant battle between all the different forms of energy. There's the sea is constantly pushing and pulling the land, the wind is constantly howling around and lifting up the birds, and there's also this amazing contrast of this kind of really harsh, difficult landscape and these really beautiful, delicate things nestled within it, like the kind of harsh Dungeness beach and these tiny little beautiful flowers that grow amongst rocks. So with my pieces kind of in different sections. The first section is it's got lots of pizzicato strings and rhythmic vocals, and that's because I really wanted to get this kind of feeling of constant pushing into the piece, and also the idea that nature does its own thing, and no matter how much humans fight against it and kind of try and push back about things, she's going to do her own thing. We can't fight it. She's going to redress the balance somehow. So that's the first section. And then in the kind of second half, I wanted to focus on the amazing bird species that I saw at Dungeness, because I was reading about them, and it was amazing to see such beautiful populations and hear all these variety of bird songs, but also really sad to learn about how much they're declining. I asked these brilliant string players, who it was a privilege to work with, to try, and I was very happy with that.
This incredible wave-like motion going through it, as actually something that I pick up a lot in your compositions as well, and that interplay you describe between the tiny sort of fragility of nature, but also its might and our position relative to that, and then also the other thing that comes to mind is the experience of reclaiming our experience of nature and our relation. We'll speak to you. Well, we won't speak to you again. So thank you very much for being here and for creating something so beautiful. And I hope it's the first of many. All right. Thanks, Freya. Bye bye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Here is Freya's piece.
Follow the sun. Bruised and battered, we live from winter, clinging to the first light. Freya Smith, everybody. It's beautiful.
Wow, absolutely incredible. Just takes you into a completely different transitional sort of space there. That was Freya with her piece, ending there with a beautiful soundscape of birds from the marsh and strings and choral textures imitating those birdsong moments as well. Stunning. So we're, as you can see, we have Greg here. Greg, hello.
Good evening.
You're on the
That was
wine.
lovely listening to that again.
Yeah, it must have been a very strange experience for you. Hopefully, good kind of strange. Hearing your piece for the first time, performed by a choir and strings, but also hearing all of these other pieces of music, and being in a real acoustic space again after such a long period of isolation as a composer.
Absolutely, and I think the part of the process that was me sat in my room at 5 a.m. with a little, Sibelius and 2-octave keyboard, putting it all together, it was such a contrast to be in this glorious palace of noise and around actual people and actual musicians again. It was I found it a really life-affirming experience altogether, actually.
Brilliant. Well, I think it was for everyone involved, and your piece is really incredible, extremely ambitious, and so detailed and rich. Can you tell us a little bit about how it happened? What the process was for you?
Well, so my piece is called In Romney Marsh, and lyrically it's a setting of the John Davidson poem, which I remember studying when I did GCSE English, which is now longer ago than I like to think, really. But having decided I wanted to do that, I got very into this whole idea of memory. I do a lot of work with people living with dementia and their carers, and obviously there's an element of memory there. And my background is in folk music, so again, that's very much a running theme there. So I sort of came up with this idea of almost in getting inside the mind of, inside the memory of Romney Marsh, the kind of whole idea that the land absorbs the memories of everything that goes on around it. And so you'll hear in my piece, I was very fortunate to have access to a library of kind of oral history recordings of Marsh residents. So I intercut those into what I was doing, and I used them on kind of analog tape. So that has its own slight warping and distortion as well. Musically, though, I set the Davidson poem really as if it was kind of in the style of an English folk song. So without wanting to get too theory about it, it's Dorian mode with irregular rhythms and things. And then I kind of thought, actually, for all its beauty, the Marsh has had quite a torrid history when you put in the Great Storm and being on the front line in the war. So there's some sections in the middle where I think I probably gave the singers and the sort of choral arrangers a bit of a start when they actually got the score, because there's some quite unusual harmonies in there that may or may not be a byproduct of me writing it at 5 a.m. on multiple cups of coffee. But that was to kind of symbolise that kind of sense of torment and anguish and the dark side of the marsh, I suppose. And then we finish up with a little patch in the Lydian mode that was really supposed for me to be kind of the sunrise again.
Yeah.
And actually there was a lovely moment when we performed it, and it was sunset, but with the beautiful windows in the church, the sun kind of came in and sort of bathed the performers in this wonderful light. And honestly, if I'd have been programming a lighting show for it, I wouldn't have done it any better. So nature was on my side there, really.
Nature was on your side. Yeah, it absolutely was. And I think it's an incredible piece of music, and the way that you write for voices and strings is so utterly unique, and particularly there's this stunning viola solo that happens in the piece that really stood out to me as incredible moment, and as you mentioned as well, the tape distortion and hiss and the sounds of those voices kind of coming in and out from the textures that you've created. Really incredible. Thank you so much, and I hope it's the first of many things we can do together, and the first of many things that you're commissioned to create as well. So this is the final piece of this evening as well. So I'm also going to say goodbye and thank you to everyone who made this happen, particularly Didier at the Fifth Continent Landscape Partnership Scheme, Kent Wildlife Trust, to Greg, Freya and Jack, the fantastic composers that took part in this, and to our at-home submissions as well, Francesco and Harriet, thank you, and also to Leanne, and to all the